As usual, the dog wants to be the cue for starting up the show, even though he has no part. He think he has full production rights. Nonetheless, we got less mail volume, I guess, is what we would say in the post office. And I guess the same thing can be said for sports. As we know, the NBA season is wrapped up. Baseball might be the only season that we have intro as we look to football beginning, but not quite yet. With that being said, welcome into Mailbox Sports. I am your hydration coach and summer coach counselor, Postman 1914. Got minimal things going on out here, but we're going to talk about and speak with the belt collector himself, Mr. Bluefax. How you feeling today?
Doing good, man. Glad I could join. Just staying busy. You know, I'm probably one of the most active 40 plus people I know. So there's always something going on.
And just so we can kind of cross reference, because last week I had what I classify as a heat wave. We had all 90-degree days in the Midwest.
Oh, that's cute. That's
90 degrees with no humidity would sound wonderful, but when the heat index is at 103 and 104, we're gonna talk about your actual temperatures in Arizona. What you got going on in the desert? Because I can imagine what the temperature looks like. What's some of your highs last week?
Temperature-wise, weather-wise, you're even talking about activities in general.
Like temperature-wise, even throwing the heat index.
So we cooled off a little bit. We got down to like 98, 99, 101. Cool off. We had last weekend 14, 115. It was actually a pool day, so we was at the pool with the misters going though, and then in the cabana.
And
but you get in the pool, cool off, jump out, grab a cocktail, get in the pool,
101 is a cool day. That's what we gonna say.
Well, it sounds crazy, but
it absolutely does.
I've been here so long that, you gotta get over it. That's not hot when 115 is right around the corner. It's kind of like living in Minnesota when it's 0. That ain't cold when negative 30 is possible.
Fair. I look forward to, like, last week it was I think we had a 94-degree day. Heat index was about 103.
Y'all got a lot of humidity.
Yeah, I'm saying heat index was about 103, and I had to do a street observation. That street observation would entail you walk your route exactly the way it is put together on your case, so that you can prove or disprove the length of said route to prove it is over or under. Okay, so fun fact, we did prove that my route is over. Unfun fact, we found out the hard.
Or a bad thing?
It's a good thing for a carrier, because being overburdened and finishing work every day past 6 o'clock when you're supposed to have a 4:30, 5 o'clock day is abnormal, to say the least. Especially in let's say last 7 o'clock and you got the heat bordering the high 90s throughout the course of the day, and you're outside every day and everybody's route not privy to trees. Heat stroke symptoms and things like that, if you're not pre-hydrated, are things that we want people who have kids involved in sports to make sure they hydrate properly, because even as an adult we fall short of that sometimes, or become naive to certain temps. Almost beat me last week, won't beat me this week. So the reprieve is over with. Had a nice recoup with some fluids, and now we get into the fluid that makes us both do it. Sports. In the off season, as I speak of, we both Bulls fans, and while the White Sox
right now it's kind of debatable. I feel like I feel like I'm in the upside down right now.
Oh, I'm a fan, but I'm gonna steal a popular phrase in my estimation. I'm on a bull cot. So you don't have my unwavering support in any way, but you do have my attention in the aspect of the players deemed worthiness of being talked about. So I won't rob them of their flowers because the organization in total is dumpster fire, for lack of a better term. And so we get into the off season. The draft is complete. The finals are over, and we got a couple things to talk about with the Bulls. So we're gonna get right into some of those things, and we would hope to see what you think, if anything, if you have an opinion about the Bulls. Because right now, if not for the players, I would be totally apathetic. But good, bad news. Good news is the Bulls are making deals. The bad news is the same people that were making bad deals are still around. And in some people's estimation,
are the deals good deals?
Well,
you say the deals are good deals. Movement good, without like it's, you've heard that saying. What is it?
Progress for progress sake.
What's that?
I said progress for progress sake is it's much like moving on a treadmill.
Activity without purpose or movement without purpose isn't
activity without production.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, we moving, but what are we?
I see your hands.
Really doing?
I see your hands.
Do you think this is? Yeah, like you treading water. Do you feel like we treading water, or are we actually moving towards a goal?
Well, see, in totality, I feel like we failing to tread water. I think we sinking the boat. But I say sometimes the boat has to be sunk, I should say, in order for us to rebuild a new one. It's like, if you still got the boat, they're gonna keep plugging away like this thing can float. And so I needed the capside just so that somebody understands that you got to get a new captain or something else going on. With that being said, the front office and the coach secretly received extensions, and they say secretly because
I feel like my facial expressions. I'm going through a sequence of emotions, but I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is all alleged, and this is all what I hear. But they allegedly got extensions. Oh my God, I have absolutely no idea why. And to cap that off, as usual, they are tight-lipped, and it is company policy for them not to discuss things like that. With that being said, these guys made a trade recently to shed the contract of a $10 million contract of Lonzo Ball. Logjam at the point guard was, I guess, something that you could say was something that is. And you have other people that might be younger than the pipeline, whether it be G League or anything else that might be able to take that next step. But in usual Bulls fashion, they traded him for Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro makes $11.8 million. Thus, you inherit a player who makes more, and in my estimation, does less, because he is yet another 3-and-D player. So Patrick Williams.
So make that make sense. Make that make sense right there.
Next year, I believe you have a player option on Okoro. Not a player option, a team option. So you can shed yourself an Okoro, whereas you had a player option for Lonzo, which he might have picked up. Not sure, but maybe. So you only save about $9 million. But it also epitomizes what our new speaking head, Mark Eversley, spoke on when he said the team doesn't actually know the direction that they're headed in, which is why I'm on a boycott. Because you don't know which direction you're going in. But I can tell you, it's in a circle. Because Isaac Okoro looks like a Julian Phillips, looks like a Dalen Terry, looks like a Patrick Williams. And now you have 4 of those. And still, none of them are productive on the offensive end, can create a shot. And it gives you no identity because we're not even a good defensive team. With that being said, what possible moves or trades would you would like to have the Bulls be in on in terms of the offseason? If you can have a wish list, anybody left that you think the Bulls should go after? And if so, what you willing to give up?
Uh, I don't know how realistic it is. I think I want my wish list. Like
Yeah, you got two or three people that
I would like to see Giannis.
okay. One disgruntled,
I would like
alleged disgruntled person.
Yeah, I would like to see Giannis, and I would be willing to. I'd be willing to clean house on a lot of the resources. I would say, with the exception of probably Buzelis, and I would like to hang on to Kobe White.
Okay.
One of those two. I need to keep one of those two, preferably both, and get Giannis.
Okay. So
I say
poss-
Kobe White because I want some perimeter productivity, and I want an outside threat that really makes you pay a price for doubling and closing in on the paint. I
okay.
can't think of anybody else worth keeping that's going to be a significant threat from the outside. And once you get Giannis, you don't need a bunch of 6'9", you know, athleticism. You want it obviously, but it becomes less of a focal point because everyone's collapsing the lane. We pushing the ball, we're getting fast breaks. Giannis pushing or causing them to collapse. We need perimeter shooting with him. I think a fresh talent like Kobe White can help in that ability.
Now,
I mean, our shooting is so. We've had. I mean, I could do this all day. We've had piss poor shooting from the Chicago Bulls on the perimeter for as long as I can remember, and the fact that we haven't solved that problem yet lets me know that the people trying to solve that problem aren't qualified. How's that been a problem for 5 years? How we have like some key things, key staples that have always impacted us. We can't continue to stumble across a first round draft pick and get a Derrick Rose. Why are we constantly picking 7, 8, and 9? Why is all the talent we're picking up at 7, 8, and 9 a 6'8" athletic guy who can play defense and doesn't produce his own shot, not capable of consistently being a threat from the perimeter? Like, so that's 2, right? Always at 7, which doesn't do a whole lot in the NBA. I don't want to.
even worse lately. We picked 12 this year.
What's that?
I say even worse
Bro,
than
I'm
7
saying,
lately.
we even went, and that's my thing. Either be bad, or be good. But the play-in game and the 7th pick or the 9th pick
ain't working, bro.
Doesn't help me. Ain't working. That's not a working strategy. Look at OKC. Look at all the teams who said, you know what? We just need to suck. Commit. Make a decision and be fully committed to it. Anyways.
And just to expound on something like that, I want you to commit either way, but understand that the 2 finals teams showed you that it can be possible if you do the right thing. Halliburton was not a top 10 pick. Siakam is not a top 10 pick. Miles Turner, not a top 10 pick. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm not certain, but I think he was 13 or 14 to the Clippers. Jalen Williams for the Thunder themselves was a first round pick, but not a high lottery pick. So,
right.
Let's understand that would you be willing to give up, let's say a draft pick and Matas for Giannis? Would you do that? That's all you had to give up.
A draft pick
and Matas. I don't think Matas is talented enough to be a 1v1.
I agree with you. Yes, I would.
Regretfully, I think I agree to that in some way, only because of the model of if you under that guys, you have to keep Giddey and White for me to be satisfied, because
what
it
you're really
does.
saying is Matas replaceable.
I think Matas is going to be a star.
What's that?
I think Matas is going to be a star. I think Matas is one of them people.
He's going to be a star too, but I don't think he's going to be a star in the next 2 years. And what I'm trying to do is win. If I go get Giannis, I'm thinking of being competitive playoff runs now. And so what I'm really compromising is long-term talent for immediate success. If I go get somebody like Giannis, I'm thinking of winning here in the nearby future. And when I say I'm going to keep Buzelis, I'm thinking of him being a star 2-3 years down the road. It's really just a matter of win now, win later. And I don't know that Buzelis is going to be the talented star that Giannis is. And so I'm edging on the fact that I got proven talent, like, bird in the hand type of situation where I know what I got right now and I'm hopeful about what I got in the future. And the Bulls don't historically do a great job of coaching up talent. And so what I'm really saying is we're going to make him better. He's going to improve within our organization. And that was something I would love to say, but I don't know historically if I got the confidence in our organization to do that.
I dig it.
If that makes sense.
It makes total sense because
Okay.
for me, while I've seen development, I don't know that we have the same people developing talent less around. But I do believe that Modest has a bit of a Jimmy work ethic and attitude,
Okay.
and he has a Giannis type of scoring demeanor, if that makes sense to you,
Okay.
and it's aggression. And I would do it, but so begrudging because I really do think in the next 2 or 3 years he will never be Giannis in my estimation. I mean, until you prove that, I can't even put you in that stratosphere.
Who is he? When you say star,
When I say star,
give me someone comparative to.
If
What is
I
he,
had-
what's this?
if I
What's
gotta
realistic and
compliment
what's the
somebody.
ceiling?
So if I got to compliment somebody, his ceiling to me really can be. Can I say Giannis without the MVP accolade to it? And I say it like this: he would be more of a shooter than Giannis, but not as much of a true, like, absolute difference maker. Meaning he can make us be a 4 seed, but I don't think he is ever going to be capable enough for him to be, well, we are 1 seed with him. He'll be like, who's the guy I'm trying to equate
Is
him
he
to?
like what's Buddy's name from? Is he like from the Knicks? Forward from the Knicks. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Randall.
No, he's not.
Julian Randall.
No, he's better. He better than them.
Okay.
He in a different tier. I think he get to a next level. He may get to that. He can get your team to the playoffs, high 4 seed. I think he'd be better than Spicy. Like, his offense is gonna be. I think he's gonna be a 20+ guy. Like, he's gonna be a 3-way threat. He plays defense. He understands the game in terms of how to. He was a rookie last year. We finally got minutes. He know how to get a shot from all angles, and he's not scared to be nasty about it at all. And he's not afraid to take over a game where he's stepping on toes. He is the exact opposite of most people in the sense of his aggression. This year, we got draft picks that we want to talk about. I don't know much about Noah Essengay and Lachlan. Can't even give you Lachlan's last name right now. It slips my mind, but I think he'll be the better of the 2 draft picks on the surface. Nonetheless, with that being said, he's showing them around the gym. He getting people together this summer to work out. He working out with big stars, and stars in LA are talking about Matas, including his own teammates. I can't believe that he don't have the.
He's better than Zach LaVine in
Yes.
terms of productivity.
Yes.
Okay.
No empty. He not empty calories with his. It's all production and in the flow of a team. I never seen the game last year where he had to lean on 20, 30 shots to be great, and he was working on rookie scale, being on rookie humility within the flow of our offense. Imagine if you get more plays called for you. Like, it's just like, being it's like what I might say Luther Burden or Rome Odunze last year. You see how Rome was the 3rd peg last year, but the way in which Rome was kind of or how we foresee him to be is much greater than what he is right now. He's gonna be a dog of the number 1. Just on the team right then, he was just doing things in the construct of the offense. Imagine when you the go-to guy, or you the guy who can go in the huddle and make your presence known. And I think that's Mata's got a Steve Smith type of attitude to him with KG-esque scoring abilities. esque, light,
Okay.
diet,
Yes. K. You said
diet. Kevin Durant, diet,
K
diet Durant,
KD.
diet Durant. We
So
don't.
KG.
No, not. He got KG nasty, but
Okay.
KD.
You're seeing something different than what I'm seeing, man. I'm gonna go with it. I'm
What?
gonna go
What?
with this.
How many games did you watch last year? Just real quick.
How many games? What?
How many? Yeah, I know you watch more than most of us. How many games you watched last year?
Probably. I would say maybe a third.
And so, towards the end of the year, within the confines of the offense and how it's constructed, we gonna get some YouTube together and look at some modest games when you rookie of the month and everything like that, and when you playing in the All-Star weekend, grinding people face up against your competition. I want you to see how
Yeah, and so like part of why I didn't watch as many games is because I feel like I'm not rewarding bad.
they not worth it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's why people can't. That's why the vision of Montes is not there in full for either one of us, because they don't deserve our attention. Like I said to start, but the team in itself deserves our admiration. I don't know much about Noah Essengay, nor do I know something about the second round player. If you have an opinion before we move on to the next subject, because that's one of the more exciting, I think that the Bulls will get productivity from both. I think the first round pick is more developmental offensively than the second round. And I only say that off of highlights that I've watched. But when I watch highlights of the second European player, he gives you a modest type of hunger where he seeks out his shot. He is confident in his offensive arsenal. He's not a one move type where the other one is more a dive to the basket, energy, explosion, and can dunk and get free throws because he long, lanky, and young. Not to say that he won't be developed, but the second round pick shows me a bit more. Hopefully he'll get to stick around. You know anything about either one of them, and I do want to do Lachlan a bit of a service to give him his name before we move on, just in case you don't have anything for him.
I don't actually.
Okay, because I know we only have too much out there as far as the Bulls and LeBron bum ass opted in. Just if anybody care to not care. Lachlan Olbrich. Yeah, bum ass. I say that affectionately. We know he sit at the table, but you got two wings. You ain't got the big piece of chicken. You got two wings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad he's not doing it to my organization.
Yeah, so
holding a whole
hostage.
Organization hostage
for a son.
Yeah, I'm glad they.
And we're not gonna hold people hostage no longer. We're gonna move on to something that got good vibes, but some puzzling controversy or controversial thought processes about. As we both know, the Cubs are second best record in the National League and third best overall in baseball, in all of baseball. Yet we are considered to be in a June swoon. The Cubs have lost 3 series in the month of June, and series matter. Really, that's how you build up your resume to be a superior team and be the third best. You win series, right. Maybe not every game, but you win a majority.
Right.
Secondly, we look to build momentum as opposed to lose it and look flat at any given time. But you offer the opportunity throughout a long baseball season to have that, and baseball will not allow it in terms of Cubs fans because we are considered to be in a swoon. We are 5-6 in our last 11, Mr. Blue Facts. And get ready for it because it's going to knock you off your feet to kind of encapsulate the swoon we're on. We are 11-11 in the month of June. You heard it right.
11-11.
You heard it right. 500. We're a 500
I'll
ball
take it.
club. And that is what Chicago Cubs fans classifies as a swoon at the very moment. So, first, I asked you, Cubs fan, are we in a swoon from your catbird seat? And that is interesting to me that you spoke about that one right there, because while I won't say, I will say we're in a swoon, and we're in a swoon by comparison. Yeah, what I say by comparison. Well, no, not even by expectation, but by comparison, and by comparison to your first 2/3 of this half of the season, you were by some people's metrics exponentially superior. You know, for example, we're number 2 in home runs right now, 124, I believe, as a team. You got several people, Shota being the team leader with 22, and then you have, who is it, Peter Crow Armstrong being 21. So with the ascension of PCA and the MVP talks daily, Kyle Tucker slow and steady with his 17 home runs, leading the team in RBI and being on the All-Star ballot or one of those leaders. The expectation has become a bit high, and so at the same time, Tantrum, welcome in if you still around. It gives the illusion that you are doing worse than you are, yet you are doing worse than you were. So this is what I'll say about that swoon before we get into the people that you just spoke of and delve more into what you think we need to add. I am not at all annoyed by the said swoon right now. In fact, if this is the swoon that we take, I want us to have these ebbs and flows in the months of June and July, because these will be what we classify as the dog days per se for our team, and it doesn't allow us to do what I think some teams like the Cleveland Guardians do a lot, which is zoom all the way to the end and then flame out early in the playoffs. It gives you an opportunity to have your highs and lows, and if these are in fact our lows, I will take those lows and be real grateful that August, September, and so on and so forth will give us more of an opportunity to get a hold on the lineup, have some people fully return from injury that might, not be here yet. I think like Porter Hodge will be back next week if he hasn't returned already. Shota is back and looking like Shota, or better for some people who don't know much about Mike Imanaga. And I do want to touch base because it gives me question. You said we're going to look into bullpen help, and your other position of need was okay. Now, for me, your bullpen is one of the league leaders in baseball. Last week or the last 11 games when we've been in this 5 and 6 swoon, your bullpen has given up a whopping, no, you guess, how many runs have your bullpen given up? 3. Your starting pitching has been abysmal as of late in this quote unquote swoon, and your offense hasn't given anybody anything to match just the same. Palencia, that's what? Uh-huh. Okay, and this is why I would be impressed. Um, yes and no, and let me do a little research on one. Let's do one loss, because one I'm oh but that's now I agree with you there, but that's where we disagree, because I don't believe Ryan Presley will be your closer by the end of the year. No, I'm no he can't. You might not, but Pomerantz is on a resurgent year, and Presley was a part of a trade, and he wasn't a throw-in. He was a bona fide reliever and is doing his job. I mean, you can only get a save if the game was within 3 runs or less. So he's not in there on blowout duty, just tossing them up. He got to actually have save opportunities. So let's go through our pitchers out here. Just see if I can pull up all our pitching stats. They don't let me pull them up right now for saves or for players. Hold on. But even with that, Palencia is the young guy who I think will be our starter. Our closer. Yes, I like Palencia to Helenism. You don't know who the young Palencia is, but we talking Cubs baseball, 1-run games. Let me see, Cubs 1-run games. 2025. Happy Sunday to you. What you got going on? We played in 23 1-run games. We 17-6 in those games. So, 23 1-run games. Yeah, 17-6, and we got about 50 wins. So that's over a third of our wins came in 1-run games. That's how you say you're close to get saves right there. And so it shows you how leverage can be put to the test. I think the lineup deserves a couple more hitters. I say, even at a DH, a pinch hitter. We need a bona fide hitter to come off the bench. Cold, not playing a lot. Nobody's in the minors that I see fits that bill right now. So you do need to trade for what I think is one of those guys. Well, when early in his career, he was one of those cold off the bench. So, but we don't have any in the minors, so we got to go get a bona fide. You got to trade for one. No, starting pitchers. Starting pitchers is the number one thing we need. We need starting pitching. Shota is back, but Shota is really a 2 or a 3. Let's be honest. Jameson Taillon, he's not a 1. I don't think Shota's an ace. I might give him a 2. Okay. Based on I haven't seen him pitch on short rest yet. And let me give you the list first, even though I know the game has changed a bit. His velocity in terms of his fastball, he tops out at about 92. He's a methodical Greg Maddux-esque type pitcher. If I have to give him a comparable, or Kyle Hendricks more so than a Jake Arrieta. He just got a weird delivery to him. And Kyle Hendricks, while brilliant and masterful, was always a 2 or a 3. I know he can dazzle people, but I don't ever see like 3 days rest. I'm putting the ball in Schroeder's hand, and that's the guy I know gonna give me a dub. I still think if I had to, I wouldn't have wavering confidence, but I would only have like 80%. Whereas I would like to see them go get a guy. Before he got hurt, they talked about Chris Sale. Chris Sale, I've seen you in the World Series do this type of stuff. Alcantara, even, I've seen you win the Cy Young. And this year, I see you making adjustments. So while they might be sharing one responsibilities at that point, I do believe that gives me more confidence in a duo. Not to slight Schroeder in any way. I just don't think you the absolute one. And if you want to do that, go get me a number 2, because tell me who that is. Schroeder, let's say Schroeder's your best pitcher on our rotation. Who's number 2? I gotta hope that K. Horton is 3. I know I gotta hope that K. Horton's number 3, because he ain't there yet. I know what I hoped him to be, but he got knocked around. That was him in that head kicking the other day. I mean, like, he young, he a rookie. I give him leeway. I'm not criticizing him, but he's a number 3 this year. Maybe next year after he ain't been in the big leagues. But right now, we talking about money on the line. No, I think Tyon is a 4, and because he's a weather pitcher. You scoring a shit ton of runs. No, I'm not. We don't have a lot of high ERAs. I'm telling you, conditions matter with pitchers. Tyon is like a fly ball hitter. So if the wind is blowing out, like his last 3 outings, he didn't give up at least 3 to 4 runs in tight games because fly balls are going out now based on the wind blowing out. Like early on when the wind was kind of flat, he was dominating. He's always been that type of dude where he is a back end starter. On his good days, he's a 3. We talking about October baseball. Will he still be there? I think he'll still be a viable starter, but you more of a 4 and a veteran presence, like Hendricks was last year, more so than a guy who I'm confident tossing the ball to. We're gonna get some of that back, and that's where you miss Justin Steele, and because Justin could have put himself into being a 1 already, but now you gotta go get a 2 or something just to give everybody a spell. Then your 4 and 5 can be like, an extension. They can rotate. You can have 4, 5, 6 type shit going on. Just because we need to be able to, when we need a game, we need to be able to have more than Mike go out there and be in a pitcher's duel and win us a game. Everybody else got at least that guy who you can go get. Like Schemes, Mizorowski, even the rookie showing you that right now. The Dodgers might be the only people who don't have that top tier guy, but they got a whole bunch of number 2s. We don't have a lot of number 2s, but with that being said, it is 2 people on this segment, and only one of them has any expertise right here, Power Player, because you say you can't comment on any of the segments that we talk because you don't know anything about football and basketball, which I disagree with. You know as much as you want to know. We're going to have a bit of a time for Mr. Bluefax to give us his replacement activity of the summer, because while I walk the streets, try to make YouTube content, and maybe do a little bit of reading, he on his 1s and 2s everywhere and does something I don't know if very many of y'all are familiar with or involve yourselves into healingism. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Do I get it right?
You do have it right.
All right, just making sure. We torment and tease about BJJ so much, I almost forget what it really means. So I ain't want to tumble in without preparation. I didn't give Bluefax much prep time, if any, to know what he'll be talking about. Nonetheless, it's something I think he likes to do. I know absolutely nothing about it, but group-wise, I think we got a couple questions for you. First question of all of them: what made you want to get into jiu-jitsu?
I think COVID happened. Like, I've always been like super active, right? Like I I don't know, I could number of things like basketball, rugby, long bike rides, just always been active. And so what happened when COVID hit was essentially a lot of the activities that I would have normally done. That was also like in combination of me relocating from Minnesota to Arizona. So it's like I needed an activity that I could, enjoy. I think for me it's like a checkout time. And so I needed something. I'm typically like an intense person, right? Like I need something that's gonna occupy my mind. So I need to be both physically engaged and like mentally and physically engaged. And so because of that, it couldn't be something, because I'll become easily distracted, right, with working and all the other stuff that's kind of going on. If it's not something that I have to dedicate and prioritize and plan for, and I can just go and pick it up and do it, then it doesn't get the same level of importance in my day. Like I like having to be like mentally engaged. And so it was one of those things that like I tried once. I enjoyed the process. I'm also a person.
Okay. When you used to be, yeah. I could dig that. I mean, and I think about that only in the sense that, well, we talked about rugby and that one, and a lot of other things are semi-contact in terms of the things they do, but the actual physical engagement, yet in a time when we are aging, do you think if we can reverse or rewind, would it be a sport that you put more time into, or wish you had known about when you were a bit younger as opposed to in your earlier years? Or do you think that your focus these days in the mental space that you are in made it more apt for you to try now?
Man, I think that's a good question. I think I came across it at the right time, right? Like I would say that, I mean, you've known me for a long time throughout college. I would say that I wouldn't take away like the sports I started out with. I think those sports shaped me and helped me develop as a man. I don't think I should have known what I know now in college.
We agree.
We've been in situations where like you would have a different person, right? And so I felt like I found it when it was the right time. As I got more mature and as I understood more, my temperament's different, my daily interactions different. Like now I practice. When I first started, maybe more like self-defense and protecting my family, my wife, and my kids. Surrounded by women. I think it would have been a completely different objective maybe earlier on. If I would have come into college knowing this, it would have been probably a different person that you would have met.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think I came across it at the right point in my life, because right now I'm in a space where I can manage those emotions where a 19, 20-year-old version of me would have just been reckless.
And I think I framed the question in that way just so that it could be reflected upon that we both, like you said, I've known you since teen years. I know personally it would have been utilized from the familial protector aspect.
It's just dangerous, man. I think
the skill set and the mindset wouldn't have coincided right then. Especially like the environment that we was in.
Yeah, like going to a HBCU, I feel like, you gotta navigate a lot of personalities. And I navigated those with the skills I had at the time. And, I knock on wood, talk to my wife all the time, like, by the grace of God, right, trying to do the right thing. But I think I would have been less risk averse than I was. if I take AKA like a Q, that would have been a personality. Like that tandem, that was a bad tandem because I think those would have been more in alignment. You know what I mean? And that was dangerous. And only like you just get kicked out of school. Like not even like hurting somebody or something like that. But I just would have been on the verge of being kicked out all the time.
Yes, never fulfilling full potential because of realized potential too early. Sometimes
your ego is so much in play. And I'm more mature now, where I can be like, "Bro, I'll buy you a drink. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to do anything aggressive." But then it would have been something completely different.
And so, that in my head would lead me to my next question. We talk about the temperament that it takes and why it's more beneficial for you to learn in this era. What things outside of the physical, because most people would think of all hand-to-hand combats and things as nothing but the physical types of things. What things do you think jiu-jitsu has taught you that can translate to your daily world?
Yeah, a great question. I think so. I'm in IT, right? Like I have been IT my entire life. I think what a lot of people probably don't know about it is that it's problem solving. You're in a constant situation of problem solving, and what I've heard it explained in the past is like it is critical problem solving with dire consequences. And what that really means is like unlike other martial arts where you can't just square off and punch somebody with boxing or roundhouse kick somebody in karate or kickboxing or taekwondo. Like when it comes to grappling or jiu-jitsu, you can go to 100%, bro. Just tap, reset, uncle. Like I'll run that back.
He's there running back,
and I don't have to think about what I would have done if I would have tried harder. Like there's a lot of like, it removes the idea that like I can't really see what this does. Like I've been on the end of a choke and I'll choke somebody.
Okay.
Like 1,000 times. I've seen how I react to it. I've tried to get out. I've used 100% effort. I just held 110% effort. I've lost to a 250-pound man. I've lost to a 135-pound woman. It really comes in all shapes and sizes. And so I think what really caught my interest was I went the first time, like the first trial week or whatever, and like my instructor was 150 pounds. I'm like 200 pounds. I'm stronger. I'm just more athletic. And this man had a full conversation with somebody else while completely like had complete control over me. And what I left that experience thinking was not like, damn, that sucked, but I was like, hold on. So if I come back, I could do that. Like,
I can do this.
You tell me I could do I could do this to somebody else. Like to be able to whistle Dixie and control a 125-pound man means you got complete control of your diaphragm, your heart rate, and I'm sweating and can barely like maintain focus. And I was like, I want that power.
And not to mention, you are in full chess mode in the sense that you are 4 or 5 moves ahead up here to allow all of those things you said physically to happen and still be able to shoot the shit. You are telling me instantly in so many ways that you have repetitiously went through every single sequence that could happen in case this happens while I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Much like you said in terms of programming, much like we would look at in any given repetition, even for me in terms of carrying mail. You do understand that you got safety procedures, things that you do that 10,000 hours are done in those subconsciously, just mastering said movements. And so now you look at the things in a more cerebral capacity to know everybody else's route and adapt what's going on, and at the same time try to find out ahead of time sometimes if certain things are going to be there as a problem, or if those problems exist in the future, how we going to be able to rectify them. And so while that might not be the carrier's job, that gives some of the same type of anticipation, I think, which is the only thing that resonates with me in that particular sport right now. But I guess my last question, so that you can get
go ahead. If you relate this to other sports, like say for example, like the difference between a white belt. So jiu-jitsu is white, blue, purple, brown, black. Right?
You took my question away from me, which leads.
Oh, my bad. So our average is they say it takes about 10 years to be a black belt. But there aren't any black belt moves. Like the white belt move versus the black belt move. It's not like the black belt has a different set of moves. Like they are all the same. Armbar is an armbar, triangle is a triangle, a cross collar choke is a cross collar choke. The difference between that black belt and that white belt is reps, efficiency. Execution. So the reason why, when I walk in my first day not knowing anything, and a purple belt or a black belt or a brown belt, and have a conversation, manipulate and control, isn't because they're stronger, isn't because they're faster, isn't because they're more athletic. They've done this 1,000 times. Okay. And so they know what you're going to do before you know what you're going to do. They know if I tilt you this way and grab you this way, that's going to put a hand on the mat, which is going to set up this. And they've already played it through their head. So that's the problem solving part, right? Like, is it easier to move a 200-pound man, or is it easier to move away from him? Like, if I want your hand, do I grab your hand or I grab your neck, which makes you give me your hand because you got to protect your neck. Like, it's those types of problem-solving engagements.
Moves and counter moves.
If I want your arm, if I want your hand, and I reach for your hand, you're gonna pull away. I'm not giving you my hand. But if I grab you by your neck, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put your hand up.
You're using that hand. Yeah, you're bringing that hand there.
You gave me
so
your
now
hand.
You gave it to. I presented it.
Now you gave it to me. So now I've used less energy. I didn't have to fight with another person equally as strong as me. Like, if I want you to roll to the left, I just make it so you can't roll to the right.
Yeah.
Where you gonna go? To the left. So it's those subtleties, and that's what makes that black belt more efficient. He understands the way your body moves that you don't even understand yet.
G Honda, what's going on with you, man? Make sure, because I am so ignorant to doing so, make sure we hit that like, subscribe button if you have not. S&M, I see the subscription to the Postal Game. Thank you. Also, G Honda, we are talking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now. Do you, as they classify, the knock-knee tyrant, do you do any mixed martial arts, any boxing?
There you go.
Look at him. He jiu-jitsu'd all the way out. He got shirts. He got gis, as they say, I believe. I got it right there. I ain't spell it right. I ain't spell it right, but I got it right. That's all that matters. G Honda, let me know if you do any type of boxing, anything in the family of a defense or a combat type of sport, for lack of a better term.
My wife calls it a cult.
Well,
I'm always trying to get people in the cult. I got one now. Al is in the cult, and now he's in love with it, calling me all the time about it.
Tell her she in the brunch cult, because I'm pretty sure she already trying to get somebody to indulge in it. And they got their own cults. They just don't know it. It's all right. It's all right though. If it is, I can't be sucking to the coach yet, y'all. I don't know nothing about it. I might be inclined to G Honda, you might be able to corner the market on Knock Knee Sports, man. I mean, like, look, in the mailbox, we got all types of sports. The Knock Knee Sports edition. I mean, we could just find nothing but bloopers and reels. G Honda can let us go with all the sports shorts that we want to laugh at every week. Y'all submit them to mailboxsports3@yahoo.com. I was talking about it. Anybody who cares to can donate to the stream Mailbox Sports 3 with the $sign over there, that good cash app. Before we do wrap up, everybody think it's a black belt that you got to go ahead and get, and that's what everybody jump to for every martial arts of any sort. First thing people think about is want to go get a black belt. You said it take 10 years to get to said black belt. So what are the...
Now that's just for jiu-jitsu though. Like, I would say you probably get a karate black belt in like 5 years. You probably get taekwondo in like 4 or 5 years.
We're going to speak about it for the one that you want to obtain, I would assume, is yours at jiu-jitsu right now. So what all colors are the belts, and what's the typical amount of time for you to have a belt before you move on to the next one?
Yeah, so it's white, blue, purple, brown, black. I'm a
white, blue, purple,
point.
brown, black.
Yes.
Tahilianism says she did karate. She only got black tips on the white belt. I ain't got no type of belt, so kudos to you. So 5 belts, I think he gave us.
5 belts. So the hardest belt to get is the white belt, right? That takes courage and going in and trying something new. So the hardest belt to get is the white one, because you got to walk in the gym, you got to sign up, and you got to be willing to suck at something. One of the cool things about it is there's no passes, there's no easy road. Everybody got to go down the same journey. And so, with that being said, there's a community, a camaraderie, so to speak, in this space. But white belts, I would say, on average, maybe. And so every belt gets 4 stripes. So you get a belt with no stripes. You have cane, 4 stripes on it. You can have 4 stripes, and then you get promoted.
4 stripes for every belt before you move to the next one?
For every color, right?
Okay.
And so when you get your 4th stripe, you don't automatically get promoted. You can have 4 stripes and stay at that belt level. It's not like on the 4th one.
You got to fill out an application or something? You got to ask, or they got to choose you to move you up to the next one after you get your 4th stripe?
Good question. Question often asked. How do you know when it's time for you to get promoted? At least I think that's what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, because we roll. Roll is the actual event, a 5-minute event in which you spar with somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's called rolling. And if you're coming to this gym a couple days a week, there's a hierarchy. We know who's better than who. We know. I mean, ain't no surprises. Ain't nobody coming in here and just like.
Oh. Ooh.
So, right. So if I'm rolling with you and you come to the gym 3-4 times a week, I come 3-4 times a week. I'm gonna roll with you a couple times a week. I'm a purple belt, you're a white belt. I'm gonna see your progress because I'm gonna feel it in our rolls. Like when you don't know nothing, I know it because I'll take risks that you don't even acknowledge that I'm taking. So you can't capitalize on them. It's completely oblivious to you.
And so how do I get strikes
to capitalize on those things? I'm like, oh, you know it more. It's kind of like telling like the inside joke. Once you find out about it,
now you know. Now you get it.
Okay, so now you picked up on that. I gotta stop doing that. Let me move on to something else.
But conversely though, with the belt color, with the color change, one, is it just like with my white belt? Do I get it just for signing up to the gym and being there, or do I need a time frame of hours before I earn that belt? How long would it take me to earn it?
So you earn the belt probably within the first 3 or 4 days. Right.
Okay.
If you come consistently and you're like, I signed up, I went through the process, I'm here to learn.
Okay, you ready for you thrown in the fight?
Then you get the white belt, right? And so throughout the rest of that process, like we all know, like I roll with you all the time, like I know who's better than me. There's a hierarchy. Like I know who I'm better than. I know like what you know and what you don't know. Oh, you practicing something, right? So we all just kind of see it happen, and there's no like, there's no surpassing that. We all gonna roll together. I'm gonna know that you don't know how to deal with these certain things, and so like with a white belt's there for defense, right? That white belt is trying to stay on the mat without getting tapped for as long as they can. You want to establish a defense system.
I get you.
Once you get the blue belt, then you're really starting to think more about putting together attacks, right? Like blue belt's supposed to be like street ready, right? Like the ability to like I can manage myself in a situation. I don't know a lot, but at the same time, I'm starting to assemble some idea of my game and certain threats.
It's like swimming in basic survival skills.
Right, like I can manage somebody about my same size that doesn't know anything and be able to get up and walk away. By purple belt, you're supposed to be like advanced, like street dominant. Essentially, like I know enough to where you put your hand, like I have enough threats, enough experience, enough things that I've kind of started to understand to be able to manage myself against somebody who ain't even my size. So you don't have to be my size somewhere. At this point, the size is less of an objective. Now, size always matters, but you start to step away from that. Brown belt, basically a black belt. Essentially, they just had to get back to the community. You're starting to sharpen their edges.
You
really figure out their game. Right, lead a class when your main professor's gone, that type of thing. So you progress in that same process. But
before I even get into my other questions for that specifically, I got actual what I classify as a YouTube celebrity sitting over here in the chat. HQ Reacts. She do a lot of reaction videos, and she is typically a wonderful panelist on the panel I told you about last night in terms of the Regal Rumble. We ain't seen HQ in a while, and she been on the grind like we tell you go 0 dark 30. HQ done went 0 dark 30 on him for work, so she just popped up in the screen. I mean on the stream and say hit the like buttons, just like get them likes up. That what she'll hit you with every time. You got a damn Muay Thai. Talking some Muay Thai, man. You been watching too much A-Team out here. I don't think you know none of this shit. Man, G Honda, one day we gonna link up. I can't roll or verify, but we need video. You started out talking about sports. We're gonna let you show me the footage of you rolling. He got evidence him on camera rolling with people and dominating. I'm gonna need some of that same video production. Some of my last few questions for you, just because I need absolute clarity about this when it comes to belt belt progression. So my 4 stripes, do I earn those? Like, who give me this stripe? T Miles, how you feeling?
So usually you have a head professor, the guy or girl who runs the gym. Like, I got a professor at my gym, luckily enough. She's a ex-UFC world champion.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu practitioner. So she might, if she's leading enough classes and she's teaching enough, she might be like, okay, well, most of the classes you attend, she might be running, so she might give me the stripe. But essentially, a black belt, one of the head instructors at that gym.
Okay.
She be kicking everybody ass.
He say all Steel City people can go. Let me tell you something. I'm from the 3rd largest city in the United States, and by proxy, when I went to school, everybody think they don't want that smoke because of where I'm from. So just because I'm from Chicago, don't mean I'm some certified prize fighter and can go, as you say, G Honda. But I dare anybody try to figure it out, even in my old age. I don't want you to have to have it proved or be proven, but people get so many free passes on where they from, when I know ducks, real ones, and all types of, I know a melting pot from every city I've been in, where everybody who even live in real areas ain't real. Everybody who live in these refined areas are doing it to kind of eliminate or ameliorate themselves from danger because they ain't built like that, and so on and so forth. But I'm gonna let Mr. Bluefax say what he had to say about it, because it's funny how people let areas dictate what they think they know about your demeanor on the whole.
Yeah. So I think that played a role in me starting this activity too. Like, I've gotten into more fights and gotten out of more fights strictly because of where I'm from. I remember people trying to fight me because I was from Chicago, and I remember people just literally walking the other way because I had a Cubs hat on, and it represented Chicago.
We would have fought you because you're a West Sider, and we not.
Right.
That type of ignorant.
But yeah. But what part of this did for me, because I started doing this probably like in my mid-30s, and so what also drew me to this was having daughters, having a wife, being, coming from that background and going to play HBCU where there was a lot of activity. I felt like too much of managing those altercations occupying my mind. I felt like I was often in situations, maybe just because of the trauma that I was in, when I would go out to concerts, when I would, we in Arizona, pool parties. I'm taking my daughters to random spots. And I felt like I was always bringing that Chicago, maybe background with me, where I don't trust. I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm always in this mode of protector. And I felt like that kept me very reserved. It kept me very in a box. It didn't allow me to be outgoing and kind of experience life in the way I wanted to. Because there's a lot of insecurity that comes with, I'm not trained. I'm gonna see red and I'm gonna go crazy. Yeah, everybody sees red, everybody goes crazy. But if you walk into a room full of men who aren't trained, there's a lot of insecurity in that room. And I ain't moving like that. I like being able to say I'm cool no matter where I'm at. And I'm gonna be nice and cordial. How you doing, my guy? Let's move along. Man, before I was moving, that who gonna be over there? What they doing? My kids can't. Like I just wasn't putting myself out like that, and I think that as a younger man made me a lot more closed off. I know my friends, but outside of my friends, I don't really mess with you. To somebody else vouch for you, like somebody bring you into the circle that I understand. That's just how I moved before, and that's a very sheltered way of moving that I didn't like about myself.
And those are the, I guess, self-discoveries that sport would have you allowed to have you understand, whereas other life circumstances like my house fire, in reflection, in hindsight, gave me some of those things in terms of comforts to eliminate some of those traumas or have certain scarring, no pun intended, ahead of time. I was a bit callous to a few things that maybe would have had me closed off had I not been so, for lack of a better term, jaded by them. Used to the norm of certain other chaoses that those inherent dangers weren't so dangerous, for lack of a better term. My ignorance to them, not being able to, I'm better able to harness those things, I think, in my estimation. But in terms of the recognition, for a point guard who can go real fast, but he don't know how to control his speed, I think I don't know when the start and stop button comes, but the whole picture of how not to let it start at a certain point was a transition that even your bestie thinks is like absolutely crazy. Like, you are reserved unlike any way you were when we were kids. Yes, because I understand inherent danger versus things that are created and things that are preventable.
Yeah. Right.
There are situations, circumstances, elements that I can't, but that you utilize or get from that sport gives you freedom of mind to operate in that space that you've always had, but allows you to channel it and put it into different boxes and utilize it appropriately, i.e. taking that speed and learning how to let the burst go when you need to.
Yeah, I think it's not ego-based, right? Like, it's not ego-based. By no means am I saying, like, no matter the situation, I can handle myself. Anybody can.
Being equipped. Because you can be preventative these days instead of reactive to things all the time. It gives you a comfort to see it from that way. And
in comfort in like knowing your limitations and what you're capable of, and that's the amazing thing. And from there on, like, I don't want to fight nobody up. I fight 3 times a week.
Yeah, you say that's where they come in.
Yeah, like, that doesn't excite me. My bad. I'm sorry.
Now, power player, when you getting back into karate, and I don't know what hot keto is, or did I hope I said it right, but he says he was in karate and hot keto. Only made it to a yellow belt when he was a kid. Once again, I'm gonna look at. We're gonna have an in-depth look by myself one day to figure out all these belts and fighting styles are. Cause
yeah, keto. I'm looking it up now. I'm familiar with it.
Everything you know right when you're a kid, you lump everything together. G Honda say he way more reserved because he truly values his freedom. Because these laws are wonky. You fucking right they are. Don't.
Yes.
The weirdest things these days, and probably in any day before I was aware of all of it, finds a way to put you in jail. And working in a prison in a max level, I'm totally aware that every law that they have these days is just an extension or a proponent of another one. When you find a way to circumvent that one, that's the American way. We create those hacks for ourselves to our benefit and detriment.
Yeah.
Let me see what else.
I would say like I'm always looking for ways to like challenge myself, right? And whether it be a 50-mile bike ride across the state, 150-mile bike ride across the state, whether it be jiu-jitsu, whether it be rugby, like finding like challenging things to do, because I learn more about myself in that challenge, and I can. From learning more about myself, I understand what I'm stronger, what I'm weak at, and understanding like the real growth, which is important to me, then what do I need to focus on. And so this was important for me because one, there was the mental aspect that, anything you can do to make you feel more confident in yourself, I think is a good thing, because you have to have, that confidence. I think that really, it has to be like, I feel like not, like it's not affirmations in the mirror type of stuff, right? Like, so I'm not saying, we'll put together a vision board. Mm-hmm. This is a vision board type activity. I say that I am a focused, diligent, like I am capable. And so I'm putting myself in a situation where 3 days a week, I have to go and be capable. I have to go and be dangerous. I have to go and understand.
And the visibility, results.
Right. And
results and responsibility.
You really gotta show up. Like if you don't really protect yourself, bro, I'm gonna choke you, and that's a real thing. When you get there, you're gonna try, right? So every 3 days a week, I'm willing to show up and fail, and to put yourself in a situation where you have to, and safely, right? Like, it takes nuts to the tap, like reset. But you're putting yourself in a situation where every day you have to humble yourself, have some humility, and continue to be there diligently for 10 years, and that's 1% of people try this, and like a tenth of that get a black belt, but you have to be willing to go through those steps because there's no skipping those steps.
And that in itself gives you the full encompassment of results and responsibility. It's your responsibility to understand the results you're trying to acquire in said sport or said outcome in life, and the results you get from that responsibility is knowing you put in the effort to get it. Either way, the execution that you know about is one thing. The execution that you actually look forward to trying to put workable effort into, let's find out how that really works out for you.
And nobody's giving you anything, right? No one's going to show up and give you, I'm not giving you a round, a tap, or like none of that. Like, and so every day you got to work for it.
He said carefulness over carelessness in those endeavors every day, that's giving you more of an opportunity to exhibit that right there, because you can be as careless as you want, thinking, like you said, because, it's a white belt. If it's somebody that y'all saw put the work in, and y'all know he moving into the next level of colors or what have you, you know what his mental development is.
4 or 5 days a week, he doing double days, he doing special classes, he getting private training, and so you see him grow. You're like, hold on, bro, you was here this morning, you was here in the evening, you was here yesterday. And so when you sit there, you're like, I went twice. He's getting better than you because he at some point,
his results don't bear it too.
He practicing 3 days a week, three times a day. Eventually, these extra practices add up, and because of that, you're like, yeah, of course he was on his way. Took some people 3 years, took some people 6 months.
Yes, but your results equal your responsibility in that. Your responsibility to get to the gym as often as you say you want to enroll. When your bestie don't have a gym in his area, he's still looking for opportunities to train and keep himself fresh for the next time he can get in there. And the gentleman that just popped in, gonna join the cult and go ahead and make the Chicago affiliate.
Our next member of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu cult. There we go.
The BJJ mob is gonna be there. I see it. T Miles, do not think I didn't see you, my good brother. We were talking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I was listening. He was talking, just giving a bit of an insight into the summer saviors. Everybody don't watch football, but the people who do understand that this is a downtime for sports. So anybody in the chat, let me know what things, if you want to, things you've been working on for the summer while football is away from us, as we transition back into training camp and other conversations. With that being said, we are into any questions that we have as we wrap up and end the tour. It's been a nice, cool tour of you as horrible time of the year. In what way? It is a horrible time for me not to experience that, but it gives me the opportunity to get my fantasy football perspective back realigned so I can defend titles. It helps me get my presentation behind me and get my trophies out and such, so people can follow me as we get this YouTube fantasy football league going. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I'm not just one league, sir.
Why you do this?
I'm not just one league. I'm out here to get all of them. At Madden 25, so look, T Miles.
We didn't do this when I was winning leagues.
I mean, we didn't have a page when you was winning leagues. Conversely,
I can get my belt real quick. Go ahead and grab the belt.
Hey, you the champ. You can grab your belt while I tell T about these wonderful football shenanigans, because I watch people play Madden all the time. We do a lot of fantasy football sports, and I watch football religiously. But Madden is the only football game. I think I got Madden 20. I might have 24. I just didn't play it a lot. I play a lot of 2K. We play a lot of MLB. We're trying to work on getting more people to play in the baseball leagues. We can have a round robin right now in ranked. And we used to play a lot of Black Masters, but hey, I am Madden in the fantasy football area. Boom, we're trying to give out dubs. Now, I'm gonna give credit to everybody. T Miles, the guy above and below you in the chat, is great at drafting his teams. I want to see him put it all together one year, but not at my expense. And speaking of at my expense, this dude be at poolside, putting it around his waist, putting it. I can't stand that goddamn belt. I'm an anti-belt. I'm the anti-belt guy because he can take that belt everywhere.
This was the first. This is the originator.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I have a few leagues. I'm in a few leagues, and he won the inaugural year of what we call the Snatch the Bag fantasy football league. He already. We talk about fantasy. He already paid up for.
Let me go ahead and.
He already paid up for the new year because I'm pockets I'm in. So that's where we go. Warzone.
There you go.
Aaron Rodgers ain't no goddamn. Look, I'd rather watch this dude talk about this fantasy football belt than talk about Aaron Rodgers being a Super Bowl MVP on Madden. Look, G Honda, I have never in my career of football loving rooted against Mike Tomlin. This is the first year where I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so I'm rooting against him.
I think it's justified.
And I'm predicting a sub 500 record for one Steel City, because Aaron will tank you with his melodramatic me ain't worth two wooden nickels these days because you ain't a Packer. Nonetheless, Rodgers, cry. Don't even bet on that shit right there, man. You got a better chance. Hey, bet on J.J. McCarthy. He got a better chance. I'm not rooting against Tomlin. I'm rooting against Aaron Rodgers, and by proxy, because y'all sitting on the same sideline, they got to get this smoke. It's like
you got to catch the strike.
I'm being ignorant out here trying to roundhouse Aaron in the huddle in the lineup, and I missed him, but I got 4 other people. Well, I'm sorry, you're standing too close to him.
Right.
I don't like him. I never will. He disrespectful. He did have a relative amount of success against my team. We ain't gonna talk about how much. So what? Who cares? J.J. McCarthy got a bad everything, but he got a better chance of being the MVP than Aaron Rodgers. Tell Aaron Rodgers to go home and be a father to his soon-to-be babies with your new wife, your AI wife, or whatever you got going on. Nobody's seen her. She left privacy.
Rodgers got the same chance of being the MVP as LeBron James has the chance of being the MVP.
Or me. I'll give you 2% more chance of me because you actually can suit up. But that's it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Caleb. Hey, Caleb, let me tell you this first of all, because we're going to have an in-depth episode, and if anybody want to join the panel that day, we're gonna get into that, but I don't want to hold facts up because I know the day goes early for them over there. Yes, I'm disrespecting him every chance I get. Caleb had relative value last year in terms of fantasy football, and I say relative because it happened at the right times for me, T-Miles. I drafted Caleb in one of my leagues. That league, wink, wink, I won a championship. I mean, he was my starting quarterback, so I cannot say that he was
because
anchor.
You had to pick before I had.
I mean,
you
had
to pick before me. But I got you with Justin. The young one, so I don't know if you remember the young one.
It was Justin. Running everywhere.
I had Justin.
He had 900 rushing yards.
Yeah.
You got him the year he went clean off. Like, God.
So I think because of that, and you had to pick before me last time, you was like, if I don't get him now,
I won't get him.
He's not going to be here.
We will talk about draft strategies, and we will talk about the way in which we arrive at certain draft strategies based on what he just said right there. And I think it's incumbent upon everybody to know your personnel when you enter fantasy football, just like I think real general managers do. But if you look at it, you drafted him when his productivity in fantasy was higher than his real life value. I think sometimes people conflate the two, and what he did in real life may not have been as valuable to the Bears, but in terms of his fantasy value in certain games at the end of the year, they gave me enough statistical productivity, and these were not blowout games, so I want people to mistake him for garbage points, but the opportunities were there for him to be in games.
Zach LaVine stats.
Yeah, the opportunity was there, and some people talk. I talk about that later on. How people, because people gonna say that. But even in fantasy football, garbage stats can, in fact, be a boon to you as the owner of a quarterback or a wide receiver. Because if I know that a person is going to be garbage in real life, i.e., their team might be down by a couple scores, I know that affects their ability to want to run the ball, and thus he may get a few more passing yards, a la early Baker Mayfield years. So I gave up
in the red zone.
I gave up a nice little nugget. Right? Yeah, somebody loves to get targeted there. I gave you a little bit of what it might take to be into fantasy football, but don't mistake what regular season things are going on with the productivity of somebody in fantasy football, because I think at times they can be overlapping, but oftentimes, unless you are dominating like a Josh Allen, they rarely just one-for-one correlate. So we'll leave you with that right there. If you have not hit the subscribe button, like I said, please, anybody hit that subscribe button, hit the share button, like what we got going on over here. Like it and like it again. HQ already reacted to y'all and told you hit the likes. We do have a new Cash App, Mailbox Sports 3. Also, the email is the same. Hit us at mailboxsports3@yahoo.com. Any topics that we might want to have coming up. We will be having a bit more trivia-induced segments of the games. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit. It's a little guess who's. If anybody pays attention to my shorts, yesterday I put up a short for you to guess the bear. I am going to start incorporating some of those guess the bears into my weekly as we have a countdown. We got about 73 days left before the football season starts. I want to be able to tie us into former Bears or NFL teams. So I will give out some alma maters of said players. We are going to put together a position room or an NFL player based on his collegiate and NFL stops. So you'll see a lot of logos. All of those can only be attached to one player or maybe two sometimes. You guess the player. One question, one a week. We counting down the football. If we have no other comments or questions for Mr. Blue Facts, I do appreciate you giving us an insight into the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. BJJ, as dirty as we may make it. I appreciate. We'll get into favorite moves one day.
Well, two things.
Go ahead.
Two things. One, cosplay at 11:10 Mountain Standard Time, so in about an hour.
Yep.
Other thing is that if you're interested in jiu-jitsu, you want to know where you would go, what type of gym, what should I be looking for. Most good gyms are going to have trial periods, right? So you can get in the door, cost you nothing. Maybe it's a free week. You know, you sign the paperwork, and you can at least give it a shot to find out if it's something that works for you. I would just say, give it a shot, man. It may not like it, you may love it, but it's always, available to you. There's usually some in your area. Find something that, go watch. Is there a community there? Are the people nice? Often people think of these spaces being like meatheads and, super ego-driven guys, and it's not always the case. You're going to find software engineers. You're going to find all kinds of, just a variety of people. And so just go in and experience the gym, watch some practices, get an understanding of what it means. If you can, go with somebody you trust, but it's often not as bad as would make it out to be, and you'll learn a lot.
I wish Jay had been here earlier. We were talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Jay is I don't know. You might have already moved back to the States, but I would have asked him if he know anything about Canada having any Jiu-Jitsu gyms. But check the replay if you want to. Jay, he gave us some valuable information about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Some of the steps and the processes that go along with it, and at that last segment, just that you have some free trial periods that you can go out and explore in a neighborhood near you, more than likely. Check your gyms that might give you a little free trial period for you to go ahead and find out whether or not it's something that you like, just to add something to the repertoire if you haven't already. Okay, you got it. That's cool. I appreciate that. Also, he do some lo-fi music reviews. So do some movie reviews over here. Mr. Bluefax, I'm talking about Jay Tillman. So he do a lot of classic movie reviews, throwback types, the stuff we grew up watching, and some of the stuff we didn't know we was watching until later. Some of them 80s movies I refer to when I talk about it, but depends on your movie love. Y'all pay attention a lot more than I do. Y'all know it. With that being said, he moving back to these United States next Saturday. That's cool with me. We gonna tap in throughout the week for shorts content and everything else. Meantime, in between time, let me go ahead and be productive and maybe give me a little bit of gaming in for the day goes. I appreciate everybody pulling up. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tune in to us next Sunday. I will give us a further appreciation of things I don't do and things I might need to explore during the summer. So anybody got those summer hobbies to help them get through, feel free to share those, and maybe we get to find some new things about each other and ways that we can expand throughout the world of sport and still be able to communicate with each other on different levels. We will talk to you later on. Appreciate you pulling up, and we are moving out.